At the beginning of the story we meet Song, the main character. It's his daughter's birthday and Song's mom gives him some money to take the girl out for dinner. However, Song needs more cash, so he secretly takes his mom's ATM card and withdraws all her money. He then bets it all on horse racing. Luckily he wins 4 million won. But Song owes money to dangerous loan sharks. When they find him they beat him up and demand repayment. Song checks his pockets to pay them back but realizes his winnings are gone. He remembers bumping into a girl while running away earlier. She must have stolen the money. The loan sharks give Song 1 month to pay them back or face worse consequences. Determined to make it up to his daughter, Song gathers some money and takes the girl out for dinner. Later, while waiting at the train station, Song misses his train. A stranger comes up to him and offers to play a simple game, promising to pay Song 100,000 won if he wins. Song, eager for money, agrees. Though he loses several rounds and gets beaten up, Song eventually wins and gets the promised cash. Before leaving, the man gives Song a card with a phone number and says, "Call this number if you want to make more money." When Song gets home, his mother shares some bad news. His ex-wife and her new husband are planning to move to the US with Song's daughter next year. Devastated by the thought of losing his daughter, Song realizes he needs a lot of money to fight for custody. Desperate, he calls the number on the card. A car picks him up and he finds himself with many other people. They're all sedated, and when they wake up, they're in a strange place with 456 people. Everyone is wearing the same uniform. A man called the frontman who runs the place watches them closely. Song soon learns that everyone here like him has big debts. While looking around, Song meets Player 1, an elderly man with a brain tumor who says he doesn't have much time left. Song also sees a girl named Esiwak, the same one who stole his money earlier. He confronts her to get it back, but before she can answer, guards in pink uniforms with covered faces arrive. The guards explain the rules. 1. They will play 6 games. 2. Players who fail will be eliminated. 3. If most of the players agree, they can stop the game. The players sign a contract agreeing to these rules. They're then taken to the first game. Song is shocked to see one of his old friends, Sangwoo, who he hasn't seen in years. Sangwoo was supposed to be doing well abroad, but somehow ended up here. The first game begins with a giant doll. The rules are simple. When the doll sings, players can move forward. When it stops, they must freeze. Anyone moving when the doll stops will be eliminated. At first, the players think it's just a harmless children's game. But when one person moves at the wrong time, they're suddenly shot and killed. Panic spreads as the players realized eliminated means death. Terrified, they scramble, realizing they're now fighting for their lives. After the first game, the players realize how serious the situation is. Those who didn't follow the rules were killed, and the survivors finish the game in shock and fear. Out of the original 456 people, only 255 remain. Many players are scared and don't want to continue. Since the rules allow them to quit if most players agree, the frontman starts a vote. Before voting, the players are shown the prize money, 45 billion won. They're also told that if they leave, the money will go to the families of those who died. Even with the huge prize, most players decide to stop and the game is temporarily paused. They are returned home but can rejoin if they want. The next day, Song goes to the police to report what happened, but the officers don't believe him and think he's lying. When Song tries to prove his story by showing them the card, the number doesn't work, leaving him frustrated. When Song returns home, he finds his mother is missing. He later runs into Sangwoo, his old friend. Sangwoo looks upset and admits he's in 6 billion won of debt. He explains that he lost all his clients' money on risky stock investments. Soon after, Song gets a call from the hospital. His mother's foot has become badly infected due to untreated diabetes. The doctor says they can treat it, but they'll need to amputate her foot. The surgery will cost a lot of money, which Song doesn't have. Even the insurance money meant for his mother is gone. Desperate, Song goes to his ex-wife to ask for help, but she refuses to give him any money. Her husband steps in, offering Song money but telling him to stay away from their family. Song, enraged, yelled at her husband, causing a scene in front of their daughter, who became very upset. Meanwhile, Abdul Ali tried to get money from his boss, but was refused. In a heated argument, the boss accidentally injured his hand in a machine. Seizing the chance, Abdul stole some money and told his wife to take their child and leave on the next flight. Elsewhere, Hyewak met with a broker to arrange smuggling her mother out of North Korea and reuniting with her and her younger brother. The money she stole from Song was part of her plan to bring her family back together. At the same time, a police officer started investigating the disappearance of his brother. While searching his brother's apartment, he found a card like the one Song had shown at the station. Curious, the officer tracked Song down to ask about it. But Song, still shaken, refused to answer. Eventually, Song found the card at home again. With no other way to solve his problems, he decided to rejoin the game. Soon after, all the returning players were taken to a ship. Unknown to them, the officer followed one of the cars, took down a guard and snuck onto the ship disguised. The players were brought to an isolated island, where the facility awaited them. They didn't know what the next game would be, but they started making alliances. That night, Hyewak and another female player snuck into the bathroom, avoiding the guard. Hyewak managed to explore part of the facility and saw the guards cooking something in a huge pot. A guard came to check the bathroom, but Hyewak quickly returned just in time. She told her friend what she saw, but Sang-woo overheard them. He asked Hyewak about it, and she said the guards were cooking something, though she wasn't sure what. The next day, the players were led to the playground for the second game. Four shapes were displayed in front of them and they had to pick one. Sang-woo figured out what the game might be. He told Song that everyone had to pick different shapes. Each player got a small pot with a shape, and the challenge was to take out the shape without breaking it. If a shape broke, they'd be eliminated. Sang-woo easily removed his shape, but Song panicked. After a while, he managed to win the game. Later, they went back to their rooms, and the number of players dropped from 187 to 108. Then they were taken for a meal. During this time, Jang fought a boy over food and killed him. Among the players was a doctor who secretly sold the organs of the dead players to the Chinese through the guard. When the bodies were taken away, they vanished without a trace. This operation was hidden from the frontman as a team member in the control room deleted all the footage. The guards knew about the doctor's deal and made sure he stayed alive. One of the guards told the doctor that food was being rationed less today, which would lead to fights among the players. The guard also told the doctor about the next game. Sang-woo knew Song's team would probably make mistakes, so he warned them to stay calm. The doctor joined Jang's team and shared details about the next game. When the lights went out, Jang's team began attacking other players. After killing a girl, Jang tried to kill Hyewak, but Song saved her. The guards stopped the violence and only 80 players remained. For the third game, the players were asked to form teams of 10. Jang, knowing what the game would be, didn't include Hyewak's female friend in his team, forming a team with only men. Sang-woo formed his own team and included Hyewak's friend to complete the group. The game turned out to be a tug-of-war, where each team had to pull the opposing team off a platform. Jang's team won easily, but Sang-woo's team struggled. The elderly player, number 1, who had played many games of tug-of-war, helped guide them and they won. Afterward, the lights went out for 30 minutes and Sang-woo organized the team to guard one by one. Jang was wary, knowing his team was full of clever players and feared they might betray him. Meanwhile, the doctor and the guards began taking organs from the dead players. Guards 28 and 29 were tasked with delivering the organs. As they talked about a dead body with only one kidney, they called it a zombie. Guard 29, disguised as one of the guards, was actually the officer delivering the organs. He began to suspect that the zombie was his brother, who also had only one kidney. While delivering the organs, the officer noticed a bomb in the tunnel and tried to gather more information from Guard 28. Guard 28 became suspicious and asked him to show his face. As the officer did so, Guard 28 was shot. Before dying, Guard 28 revealed that the zombie was a girl, and the officer could find more details in the leader's room, where all player data was stored. The officer killed Guard 28 to silence him. Meanwhile, the doctor asked the guards about the next game, but they didn't know. The doctor became angry and fought a guard, holding him captive. After killing the guard, the doctor tried to escape, but another guard chased him down and trapped him in a playground. Just as the guard was about to kill the doctor, the leader arrived and killed both the doctor and the guard. The leader finds the body of Guard 28 and realizes that someone knows about the secret operations within the facility. Meanwhile, the officer arrives in the leader's room and starts going through the records. To his shock, he finds his brother's name on a list of past winners, revealing that his brother was once a participant in the game. The players are then gathered for the fourth game, where they are told to pick a partner. Hyewak's friend struggles to find a partner as no one wants to pair up with her. Each player is given 10 marbles. and the objective is to take all of the partner's marbles without using force. Whoever runs out of marbles is eliminated. Sang-woo and Ollie play a game where they must guess whether the number of marbles in the other person's hand is even or odd. Ollie wins all of Sang-woo's marbles, leaving Sang-woo with just one marble. Knowing he's about to lose, Sang-woo tricks Ollie into thinking there will be another round if they lose. He cheats by switching marbles and giving stones to Ollie. Ollie realizes the trick, but it's too late. Player number 1, the elderly man, struggles with the game and Song helps him. The old man wins all of Song's marbles, but in the final round he forgets his choice. Song traps him to take his marbles, but the old man cleverly hides one marble. Song eventually realizes the old man was pretending to be clueless. Feeling pity, Song gives him back the marbles. Taebyok and her friend play a different game, throwing marbles as close as possible to a wall. Bok throws her marbles first, and her friend throws all hers in one go. Taebyok encourages her to try again, but her friend refuses, explaining that she is alone and doesn't want anything bad to happen to Taebyok. Her friend is then eliminated and her body is taken away. Later, Jang sees Taebyok's friend, who is still alive and sitting quietly. It is revealed that Taebyok's friend was also Jang's friend, and they had a history of clashing, which explains the tension. Jang's friend had bullied him in the past. The frontman finds an ID card near a dead body and realizes his VIPs have arrived. He goes to greet them and later tells another man about their arrival, key figure whose background will be revealed later. The following day, the players are brought to the 5th game. They are given numbers from 1 to 16. And the game will be played in order of the numbers. The first and last players will be the last to participate. Song is unsure which number to choose. If he picks number 1, he will be at a disadvantage since he doesn't know the game. If he chooses number 16, he risks missing his turn. As he debates, a man asks Song to choose number 1, saying he has never been first in his life. The players are taken to a new game room where they must cross a bridge in a given time. The bridge is made of 2 types of glass. Regular glass, which will break under their weight, and tempered glass, which will hold. The game begins and players are eliminated one by one. Jang leads the group but hesitates. His former friend who had bullied him confronts him and threatens to finish him. She jumps, taking Jang with her, and both fall to their deaths. Among the players, one man who works for a glass company knows which glass is tempered. When the frontman realizes this, he turns off the lights, making it impossible for the players to distinguish the tempered glass. With little time left, Sang-woo pushes the glass worker, causing his death. Sang-woo, Song, and Taebyok manage to cross the bridge but get injured from the broken glass. Taebyok is severely hurt. Meanwhile, the officer, disguised as a servant, is suspected by a VIP. When asked to remove his mask, the officer agrees but insists on doing it inside. Once inside, the officer knocks out the VIP. The frontman soon learns of his escape. The officer runs toward an island, pursued by the frontman. The officer tries to call his superiors, but the call drops due to a lack of signal. He sends all the evidence, but the frontman catches him. The officer attempts to resist by shooting at the frontman, who removes his mask. The officer is shocked to discover that the frontman is his brother. Before he can react, he is shot and falls into the water. Taebyok's condition worsens and she is bleeding heavily. During dinner, the remaining players are given knives, signaling that someone will be killed during the night. Song notices Taebyok's worsening condition and promises to defeat Sang-woo and split the prize money with her. Taebyok, weak and in pain, reveals that she has a brother in an orphanage and asks Song to care for both families if one of them survives. Song leaves to seek help, but when he returns he finds that Sang-woo has killed Taebyok. The next day the players are taken to the final game, the SQUID game, a brutal fight to the death. Song is determined to end the game. As Sang-woo becomes increasingly desperate, Song offers him a chance to stop and leave together. However, Sang-woo chooses to end his life, leaving Song as the winner. The frontman congratulates Song but expresses surprise at the outcome. Song is sent home, where he discovers that all the prize money has been transferred to his account. When Song returns home, he finds that his mother has died before he could reach her. A year later, Song's life has spiraled into despair and he's addicted to drugs. He hasn't touched the prize money. A flower seller gives him the same card he had received earlier, with an address written on it. Song goes to the address where he meets the old man, player 1, who is still alive. The old man reveals he created the games to entertain his wealthy clients because he finds playing the game more enjoyable than watching others. He tells Song, "The money you have is mine," before passing away. With the money, Song goes to find Taebyok's brother and leaves him with Sang-woo's mother, asking her to care for the child. He also gives her a bag of money. Song then heads to the station where he encounters the mysterious man from earlier. The man runs and Song chases him but loses him. Song calls the number on the card and demands answers about who is behind the games. The response is chilling. Song, get on the plane if you want to live. The story ends with Song left with more questions and no clear answers about the people behind the games.